Jim, welcome back, man. You are a legend in the world of marketing. I know you, I feel like at a personal level at this point. Tell us a quick 30-second synopsis of who you are for those that don't know you, and let's review yesterday's content after.
My name is Jim Edwards, and I've been selling online since before the turn of the century. Best known for ebooks, helping people self-publish, and then mini sites, which was before people called them funnels, membership sites. And along the way, I became the accidental copywriting coach, where every time I taught people how to do something and how to sell it, I taught them how to create their sales messages and write their sales letters until one day I realized that, hey, I guess I can teach people how to write sales copy in a way that resonates with people who aren't naturally salespeople. So what has evolved is that copywriting, I've learned, even though I sold a book that sold about 110,000 copies around the world. People don't want to learn copywriting. They don't want to spend the time to study it. They don't want to become a copywriter and they don't want to hire an expensive copywriter. But just like nobody wants to go to the gym, but everybody wants a slim, sexy body, then nobody wants to do the copywriting thing, but they all need sales messages that convert. And so that's why we're talking about AI copy hacking, which is the absolute latest stuff that we're doing to help people get those sales messages, ads, and marketing content they need to sell their stuff.
I love that. Those of you that want to join us in the Zoom room, our team is dropping the Zoom links on the bottom. Of course, just feel free to jump in if you want to. Jim, what attracted you to High Level? Like, let's talk about that for a second. And you've been part of our ecosystem, I feel like almost a year now. You came to our
Well
summit
over a year.
conference. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. So, one of the reasons that I like high level is because it works well. The team is great, the support is excellent, and that's good people. So it's still in kind of it, even though you guys are, I think, the biggest now, or pretty dang, if you're not the biggest, you should be, but it still has that startup, we care about you feel instead of, hey, we're rich now and you just need to keep paying us feel. Hey, I've been around for almost 3 decades in this, and I see the trend, the progression that people go through. And that's one of the things that I really love about you guys is the community, the support, the attitude. You care that people are successful. So that's why. And like I said, it works. That's
Thank
like a really great bonus is that the software works.
Yeah, well, we're a product-led company, and if we had to choose something outside of the product, I would say we are a people-led company for sure. So Jim, for the folks that didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing yesterday or missed day one and they wanted to get in on the action, can you give us a quick few minutes around what we covered yesterday before we talk about today's agenda?
Sure. So basically what we talked about yesterday were the fundamentals of copy hacking. Copy hacking is really taking the approach to sales copywriting that it's building blocks put into frameworks, and then AI copy hacking is building blocks put into frameworks and then using AI to get even more amazing results faster. And so yesterday we talked about the core of this whole process, which is understanding who your customer avatar is and their hot buttons, understanding your offer, and that the fact an offer is basically a promise, even though there are some elements to that your offer is a promise, but then your offer also is expressed as a call to action, and then also can be expressed as a stack, which is the deliverables that people get. Then there's you and how you fit into this, and specifically the parts about you that are relevant to the audience and the offer, which helps you to express your attractive character. And this creates this whole holistic thing where you know exactly who you're selling to, what you're selling, and it makes sense to them why you're selling them and why you're talking to them. So then once we defined all that stuff, we talked about hot buttons, which are the building blocks you use to create different things, different using the frameworks. And then we got into headlines specifically where we took those hot buttons from all this stuff and we assembled some really cool headlines. We did some neat demos on ChatGPT, and then that was it.
I love it. So,
That's
Jim,
what we
can you,
did.
one of the two things actually that stood out to me from yesterday is one, you said it's really hard to write copy for yourself because you have
Mhm.
biases, right? Can you expand on that?
So the reason why it's hard to write copy for yourself, and I still struggle with this myself. So I'm not, nobody's immune. And if they are, they're lying. It's because you're too close to yourself to see it from another person's perspective. So you really focus on features instead of benefits and emotional payoffs and how it fits into that person's framework of what they're trying to get done. And I think part of the reason for that is because you are so focused on your stuff that you understand why it works, how it works, and that it works. And you just figure everybody will love it as much as you do. So that's why it's so hard is you just can't look at it from an outside perspective. And
And
especially for some of us that when we really pour our hearts and souls into something, I mean you're like, look what I did. Look what I did. Not, hey, look how this can help you. Look how this is amazing for you. And
yeah.
it's just that's why we're not looking at it from the outside perspective.
Yeah, I'm just curious for those of you that are watching. I see more and more people tuning in as we are getting ready to start here. Do you feel that way? I'm just open-endedly asking. Do you feel like maybe sometimes you build your own biases about your products and services, maybe your own version of white label of high level, or your own landing pages or brands, or like, give me a yes in the chat if you feel like maybe, raise your hand and say, you know what, I might have been that might have been a problem for me, right? And what we're going to do is help you uncover some of that. Now, the second thing that stood out to me from yesterday, Jim, is you can't outwork a bad diet, right? So similarly, you can't outright copy for a bad offer. Can you help us understand that component?
So if you're most people are thinking themselves, I need to learn how to sell, but that's wrong. Nobody really, you can't really sell anybody over the internet. You have to make a better offer. And so if you think about it, you can have the greatest copy in the world, but if your offer sucks, then in other words, if your promise isn't good for your avatar, then no one's going to buy no matter how fancy you get with your language. And no matter how just ninja you get with your ability to put words on the screen to manipulate people into some sort of hypnosis, and you have like the equivalent of textual ether where you put them under your spell and get them to put in there. Even if that was possible, they're going to come to their senses within 30 days, especially when they realize the offer's no good or the offer's not for them and they're going to get a refund. So the key is to have a great offer. And if you have an amazing offer, you can have average or below average sales copy and you will still crush compared to having a crappy offer and amazing sales copy. And furthermore, you can have an amazing offer, but if your headline sucks, you will not succeed. And I yesterday gave an example, and I'm actually going to pull. I'm gonna, if you want, I can pull out the examples real quick because I mentioned, a headline test. And I always use the example of a headline test that I did back in the day, um, probably years ago. But I am going to share a result that happened in the last week because if people tell you that their sales copy doesn't they don't need to test anymore or that it always works, they're lying. So I'm going to show you a couple of headlines here with a startling admission. So as you know, I'm doing my new book to create copywriting secrets, and it's called AI Copy Hacking Secrets. And so that's what we're creating the content. Part of what we're doing, right, we're doing this is I'm creating content that it's going to go in the book. So we were making an offer this week to get people to go into a training, and this was the first headline package that I put up to go with the sales letter that I worked on. So attention speakers, trainers, entrepreneurs out there, blah, blah, blah. Unlock the secret to instantly turning your ideal prospects into paying customers. No copywriting experience required. Join the copy hacking secrets revolution. No sales. This is where, you the whole thing of your mess into your message. I hate doing that, but we had like 400 or 500 people come to the page and nobody bought. And that's embarrassing as hell. All right. So then Susan just sent me 532. She keeps very good records. Okay. So 532 people came, nobody bought. So then we changed the headline to basically this. So, from the best-selling author of Copywriting Secrets comes AI copy hacking secrets. How everyone can use AI to get more clicks, sales, and signups, no matter what you sell. No copywriting experience required. That started that started converting at about 1%. So, and it's a paid. It wasn't free. So, I mean, we're asking for money. So most people, if they can get to a 1% conversion rate, they've heard, oh, 1%, that's about all you're ever going to do. Nah, it's BS. That's not true. You keep on testing, keep on testing. So we tested and split tested and came up with this one. Now, all of this is happening within 24 hours. And we're using the great software inside of Go High Level. And so this is the current winner. So from the best-selling author, Copywriting Secrets comes AI copy hacking secrets. How everyone can use AI to get more click sales and signups no matter what you sell. Zero copywriting experience required. Not no copywriting experience, but zero copywriting experience required. And then I had a sub-headline that says, watch live as I reveal all the content for my new book, AI Copy Hacking Secrets. So that's converting right around 3 times what the other one was. So just by testing a headline, 1%, 2%, or 3%. So nothing else on the offer changed. Nothing
Mm.
else on the page changed. Nothing. Nothing. Only the headline changed. And we go from 0 to 1 to 3. And now, so, just people tell me that I overshare and I'm too transparent. But we had our meeting this morning and, I was talking with the guys helping us with our Facebook ads and stuff. And, we actually, because we got it from 0 to 1 to 3%, and I know that I can get it higher. Now we're really locked on our whole strategy for the rest of the year because of nailing a headline. And so I can't stress enough that an amazing headline with mediocre copy, and I'm not saying the copy's mediocre, but what I'm saying is an amazing headline with mediocre copy will always outsell a crap headline with perfect copy. Always. And I have to learn these lessons over and over again myself, apparently, because I didn't go through my own checklist with that headline. Because that first headline, when I put it up there, I thought it was amazing. But then when I looked at it through somebody else's eyes, I'm like, obviously that headline sucks. So,
Yep, absolutely. So I have to do this exact same thing for a couple of projects internally as well. Like this is just a life that we live in as digital marketers and things that
right.
we create and products that we build. Jim, so help us set the stage for day two. There's a lot of content we got to cover. I know you are, there's a ton of things to go through. Give us the agenda if you don't mind from like
I'm going to
a
give you the
big
agenda
brief.
by starting the presentation. That
I
way
like,
we'll
let's do it.
that way we'll be in good shape. So, basically today we are on day 2 of AI copy hacking secrets, how everyone can use AI to get more click sales and signups no matter what you sell. Zero copywriting experience required. And so our purpose is to show you how to get words on a page, screen, or video to get more click sales and signups. And bottom line, copy hacking, as we talked about yesterday, is using building blocks plus frameworks to shortcut the process. When we say hacking, we're basically shortcutting. And so that's the 10% that gets you 90% of the results. But when you throw AI into the mix, the AI is able to augment and accelerate what you can do with copy hacking. So basically, it turns into the 5% that gets you 95% of results. And just quick little sponsored by the funnel software that we use is, of course, high level. You can get a 14-day free trial. You also can get my snapshot templates and training when you sign up through this link, gohighlevel.com/Jim Edwards offers. So make sure that you do that. So today we're going to talk about bullets. We're going to talk about blurbs, calls to action, and as much more as we can get to. And blurbs may be a term you have not heard before, which is good because you've probably heard the phrase hook, story, offer,
Yeah.
but that is to a degree misleading because story makes people think you have to tell a story all the time. And that's not true. So we start thinking in terms of blurbs, which is kind of like the middle of our sandwich, but we'll talk more about that. So, bullets. You haven't heard of bullets, sales copy bullets. Typically, sales copy bullets are whenever, I mean, just for the ones who for the kids in the back who need to pay attention rather than sitting there reading comic books. If you think about, okay, sales copy has headlines and bullets and body text and buttons. I mean that at a minimum that's getting real basic. But bullets are these short little things, literally bulleted. That's a typesetting term, where they are either full sentences or just a few words that are designed to get you to read bit, 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 bit. Okay. Designed to get you to read in much the same pattern as someone would in a live presentation, give you information in bite sized bulleted format. So, what are they? What is their purpose when it comes to what we're doing here? And bullets are critical when it comes to sales copy for building pressure to act, to buy, to try, to click. They stack on, hitting different angles to get people to feel pressure internally to take action. And they primarily use emotion and curiosity. So they tie into the hot buttons. We talked all about hot buttons yesterday. They tie into the hot buttons and they tease people typically and make them very curious about what's on the other side, what's involved, what's in store, because these, if you really want to get down to it, the best bullets get somebody super excited and don't tell them a damn thing. That's the magic of bullets when it comes to sales copy instead of bullets in a PowerPoint presentation where you're giving people information. So why is this important? Well, for example, if you were selling a book or you had a book funnel or whatever, one of the most effective things you can do is use bullets to reference something on a specific page. Now, you can do that. Let's say you're selling a course. You can say, hey, at minute 32 and 23 seconds, you're going to see this and it's going to blow your mind. And at minute 48 and 23, but don't believe your eyes when you see 12. I mean, it's just, this is how you create these bullets that make people insane. Now, bottom line reports. Older people remember bottom line. They're not as popular as they used to be. I'm not even sure they're still in business, but like they had the bottom line health book, the bottom line retirement book, the bottom line yearbook. These people they had some of the best bullet copywriters in the world. They could get you super excited about something. In my own books, like 7-Day ebook, and I'll show you an example here with copywriting secrets. But one of the things that we did to ramp up massively sales for those books was to literally have a bullet and a page number. Now, where you would find what was being referenced on that bullet. Now, I'm gonna show you an example. And I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So this is an example like from the funnel for copywriting secrets. It's not up anymore because we're doing this new book. But look at this, the single greatest, most profitable skill everyone can develop if you want to actually grow a business and make your dreams come true. What is sales copywriting and why does it matter? The answer may surprise you because it's not always 30-page sales letters that put the hard sell on unsuspecting website visitors. Page 2, then there's page 3, page 5, page 7, page 8. I literally went through the entire book and did like 100 bullets on that sales page because then it creates this massive curiosity. Now, I want to believe that I was smart enough to figure that out on my own, but I wasn't. Here's why I did it the first time and then saw my sales go up. I had bullets in my sales letter and I was doing my own customer service. Nobody worked for me. I was the chief cook, bottle washer, everything. And so every morning I would spend like 2 hours doing customer service on email. I mean, it sucked. Didn't have a help. There's no such thing as a help desk. And one of the things that kept taking up my time was people emailing me asking where this was in the book. They would pick a bullet that I had used to sell them and they would email in asking where that particular thing was in the book because that was why they bought the freaking book. So I went and put the damn page numbers on there just to make people stop bugging me, and sales went up. So then I thought I was smart. So again, maybe I'm oversharing or being too, you know,
No,
but
I love
that
it
that's the
because
God's honest truth.
I love it because a lot of these things that you're sharing is from building your own businesses, and we're very careful of who we bring on to a virtual stage at high level. We've very much focused on practitioners, and we appreciate you sharing the mistakes of, and a lot of people share the fizzazzle, the
Sure.
fizzazzle is
Well,
fancy.
I got fizzazzle. That's good. I need
I
that on a
know.
shirt or my underwear. One of the two.
Yeah.
So I'll get that on my sweats. Like some people on the back, it says juicy. Mine will say fizzazzle. So let me give you some examples of sales bullets, okay? Fire secret to creating an ebook that sells like crazy while having more fun than you ever thought possible. Do you know what that is, Paulson? No. You guess, but you don't know. You're like, well, that sounds pretty cool. I'd like to know
Yeah,
that.
I'm
Or
curious.
what makes copywriting different than regular writing and why you should bother to learn the secrets? The short answer is that it spells the difference between getting rich and dying poor. I mean, I don't even know what the hell it is. I mean, it's like I think it's just like talking about copywriting being persuasive writing as opposed to I don't even remember. I guess I could look at page 3 in my own book and figure out what it was. But that's what we're trying to do. So what kind of building blocks do you need to create this?
Do you have your
Well,
Lego piece? Do you have your
do I
that was
I don't
cool. I have never seen that before as a representation of a landing page.
so these are homemade. Okay, these are custom made. So we can take our headline, which we learned how to do headlines yesterday, and now we're learning how to make bullets. No, that's not bullets, sorry. That's you. Bullets, okay? And then a button with a call to action. That's how you can make a landing page. So today we're going to be talking, we did headlines yesterday. We're going to be talking about bullets. We're going to be talking about calls to action. We're also going to be talking about blurbs. So you're going to be able to make all kinds of cool landing pages and other stuff today, promoting anything, which is pretty neat.
Love it.
So here's the thing. These are the building blocks that you need. So need to know your avatar, all right, and their current identity, their desired outcome, what they want, pain point, what sucks right now, what do they think is holding them back, what's your offer, what's the big result, big pain, and then basically your bio, a unique story or angle in this area. And then in the case of building blocks for bullets, you need a feature and a benefit. And a feature is what it is, and a benefit is what it does for them. Now, There are other formulas. There's feature, benefit, meaning. Feature is what it is, benefit is what it does, meaning is what's the emotional payoff, also known as the benefit of the benefit. But we're just keeping this where you guys can just roll with this. So we're going to get into some bullet types, frameworks, and prompts. And there are 5 or 6 different bullet types that you should know about, because this again is the 5% that's going to get you 95% of the results. Yes, are there other types of bullets? Sure, you go to ChatGPT and ask it what kind of bullet types there are, and it'll probably tell you there's 20 or 30 different types. So the first type of bullet is a feature benefit bullet. And that means it's built around what it is and what it does. And so a feature benefit bullet clearly states what the feature is and then translates that specific benefit for the reader. So what most people do is they say what it is. Hey, it's blue. It's 12 by 12. It's they give, if you were to go to Best Buy or something like that and look at a listing, they'd give you the specs. Instead of talking about the computer, it's raging fast so that you can slay everybody on Fortnite. They're trying to tell you how many gigabytes of RAM it has. And so this works best when the benefits are emotionally charged for the desire or tied to the pain removed. In other words, tie it to what they really want or tie it to what really sucks. And that's going to get them ginned up and excited. So, examples: a 10-minute onboarding video so you can get started without confusion or tech overwhelm. So, that would be a cool bullet to put in. Includes built-in templates, which means you never have to start from scratch ever again. Weekly accountability calls that help you finally follow through on your goals. Now, those are pretty straightforward. And again, most people would say, though, and I've seen this, I saw this on a webinar last week, 5 training videos. What? 5 training videos? What do they do? What am I going to get? What's the benefit? What's the this? I mean, I just started launching into it and they're like, oh, calm down, Jim. I mean, that was like after my 3rd double coffee of the day. But if you say what it is, you could burn into your brain. It's not just what it is, it's what it does for them. So if you're putting something on there, this is what it is, you need to mentally be like, this is what it does. Now, we're going to go relatively quickly here, but I really just want to emphasize that because most people for their bullets, they just list features, which is the same thing as saying, I want to die poor. So here are some frameworks that you can use for this particular type of bullet. So you get feature, so you can benefit. That's like, so you can is like the go-to thing. That's another reason why AI is so amazing, because all your bullets start turning into so you can, so you can, so you can without it, because we all need to get a thesaurus. Includes feature, which means benefit. Feature that helps you get benefit or result. So the prompt template for this is write 3 feature benefit bullets for whatever the offer is that describe what's included and how it helps the avatar achieve desired outcome or eliminate pain. So let's go over to our chat device, because it's interesting that this stuff all works on anything. All right. And we're not going to necessarily do this with every single one of these, but we'll do this on this first one. All right. So I'm going to show you a little trick. We've got our little prompt here, right? 3 feature benefit bullets for offer that describe what's included and how it helps avatar achieve desired income. Yeah, there you go. Achieve desired outcome. And then what I'm going to do is over here in my text file, I've got all my little stuff defined. So I'm going to show you a neat little trick. I'm just going to copy that whole thing and throw it in here. And then I don't even have to fill in the prompt. So here you go. Learn the exact outreach and follow-up formula that helped a former top producer, now a multi-million-dollar investor and coach, consistently get 2 listings a week without paying a cent for ads. Get word for word templates you can use to start conversations with warm leads so you never worry about where your next listing's coming from. Discover how to position yourself as a go-to expert in your market using tools you're already familiar with, even if you never advertised online or felt confident with tech. So then what you can do, and we'll talk more about these on another day. Um, I just put shorten these up and emphasize the pain. All right. Skip the wasted ad spend. Use a proven method to book 2+ listing appointments this week. Struggling to get responses? These ready to use scripts get sellers talking fast. Don't know how to advertise online? You don't need to. This system works without it. Those are nice and punchy, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
They're rock and
Lot
rolling.
more punchier. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot more punchier. That's like a real thing. Yeah. And so, but once you understand, and this is just the tip of the iceberg for all this stuff. But this is the kind of thing, if that's the power, and if you didn't see yesterday, you need to see yesterday. Okay, look at me. I'm like getting all up in your face and stuff. Let me ease back a little bit. What you need to understand is that I wasn't playing when I said define those hot buttons. And if you define the hot button and you understand the framework, then the copy hacking magic can happen. If you're not willing to define your hot buttons for your avatar, your offer, and yourself, you hate money and want to die poor. Apparently, that's my theme today because I saw it in a bullet. All right. But it's true. And this is, like I said, these are survival skills now for being able to use tools to be able to get this stuff done. So we're gonna power through these now. So the next type of bullet is a curiosity inducing bullet. And this is where we tease the benefit or the insight without really revealing any of the details, but certainly not the full details. So the goal is to spark, and I need to know that reaction or feeling, like that FOMO, the scarcity, whatever it is, it sparks in them like, oh crap, I gotta know that because I really want that, even though it hasn't told me anything. So examples. Why saying I'm too busy is silently sabotaging your confidence and what to say instead. The awkward 2-minute habit that made my anxiety disappear. Yes, really. What high achieving founders do before 8 a.m. that no one talks about. That's a good one.
Yep.
All right. And Paulson's like, I wonder if they do what I do because I'm a high achieving founder. I'm awesome. All
Well,
right.
I'm not a founder for high level. I found other companies before, but I get the point. Sometimes it's the habits that help you unlock things in business.
Sure. So here are some frameworks that you can use. All right. So why common belief is actually killing your result and what to do instead. The unusual trick that helped me get the desirable result in less than whatever the time frame is. And what successful person or people do differently yet never talk about, or the thing you should never do if you want to achieve X. Now, all of it, I mean, you're mentally now, y'all are filling these in. Mentally, you just have to. Once you understand this copy hacking principle of identifying these building blocks, thinking in terms of the Legos, and now you're starting to throw the stuff in. Where the AI comes in is it helps you to do it faster. It helps you to do it more effectively. So a prompt template for this, right? 3 curiosity-inducing templates for offer that tease secrets, unexpected insights, or counterintuitive ideas for the avatar who wants desired outcome. And you're like, that's that's where we start being like, I don't know, Jim. And so let me show you. again, we're building on stuff. Let me just throw this in here.
What I think
Now,
is really difficult is when people focus on multiple avatars at the same time.
you can't do it.
And I just, I mean, I get it. You can focus on like a small business category and work in mom and pop shops, but
No.
it's really difficult to serve multiple masters. It's
And
just,
and and that's why in our software we have built in the avatar. You can have as many avatars as you want, but you've got to communicate specifically to an avatar. So look here, I threw in that prompt and it already told it the hot buttons and stuff. So look at these. The sneaky reason your listings are going to agents with zero ad budget and how to flip the script fast. Why just listed and open house ads are quietly draining your wallet and what to do instead that costs nothing. The counterintuitive move top agents use to get referrals from people they've never met. Holy crap, dude, those are good. I don't even have to give it stuff to dial it in there. Those are decent. So let's keep going. Next ones. The you may be surprised bullets. So what these do is this leverages shock, reversal, or contrarian takes to break the reader's mental pattern and reframe their thinking. Also known as clickbait.
yeah,
That is the core of clickbait. Or also some of these contrarian type posts you see on social media that everybody's,
yeah.
that you get everybody gets their clicks and then everybody gets their click on. And so here's some examples, okay? Most people think burnout is about doing too much. Turns out it's the opposite. Huh? What do you mean? It's the reframe. A lot of, with secrets and all that other stuff, the reframing of the belief. You won't believe how much success you're leaving on the table by skipping this one simple mental switch. And the most dangerous belief holding back six-figure earners. Hint, it's not laziness or fear. That is one of my favorite things to do there with it's not. If you know that somebody's going to think of this one thing, or the majority of them are, that's where you say, and by the way, it's not this. And then they're like, oh crap, they got me. What is it? I got to find out. Because that's the whole point of these is to get them to click, buy, try, sign up, or call on the phone to find out what the hell it is. So the frameworks are you won't believe what actually causes pain point. It's not what you think. Most people think this myth helps, but it's actually making things worse. The number one reason why your avatar stays stuck, and it's not the obvious solution. Those types of frameworks work great. So here's a prompt. Write 3 surprise or myth busting bullets for the offer that challenge the assumptions that the avatar has about pain point or desired outcome. I think it'd be fun to throw that prompt in based on our hot buttons and whatnot. And so let's do that. And is this helpful to actually see it outputting
You
what's
tell us,
going on?
guys and gals, if you're watching, give us a one if you like that we're going through ChatGPT and pulling up examples of at least just, giving you the train of thought. Give us a one in the chat if you like that. Give us a
So,
two if you want us to move forward and you get the point.
number one or number two?
Yes.
Um,
I see a lot of ones here,
you ever
so
been to
all good.
Bucky's? You ever been to
Yes,
Bucky's? Okay, I have a sticker on
absolutely.
my refrigerator that says, you know
The
what the
gas
top two
station
reasons?
Bucky's? You're talking
Yeah, the
about the
gas
okay,
station
okay,
Bucky's.
okay.
The top two reasons to stop at Bucky's, number one
Rest,
and number two.
yeah. They have
So
like a huge billboard
yes,
that just simply says we have the best restrooms and nothing else on there. Their copywriting is just amazing.
it
Literally
it
on
is.
the side of 45 North and South from between
Yep,
Houston and Dallas. That's
yep.
what they have.
So look at these. You don't need Facebook ads to get listings. In fact, they could be killing your chances. Holy crap, dude. Because everybody thinks what? The only way to get traffic is Facebook ads. More exposure does not equal more appointments. Why high ad spend agents often struggle the most, which I know is true. And the
Oh,
free lead methods top producers won't talk about and why they outperform paid ads every time. Dude. I'm signing up now. But you see where we're going here. Once we got those hot buttons dialed in, we can do some amazing stuff really quickly. And again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So, next category of bullets, mistakes to avoid bullets. And what these do is they list common traps, errors, or missteps that sabotage progress. And they add consequence to increase the urgency and emotion. So this is where you get kind of the stick. Hey, dum dum, are you doing this? Knowing that they're doing it, or they're like, I was thinking I was going to do that next, and you call it out. So, example, avoid this mistake. Checking your inbox first thing in the morning kills your focus all day. Well, how many people actually check their inbox like as soon as they roll out of the bed? Everybody. I mean, I had to break myself. I don't check email for the first 2 hours I'm awake. Um, why hustle harder feels productive, but actually burns out your creativity. That's God's honest truth. And three client chasing habits that keep freelancers broke and overwhelmed. Well, crap, I'm broken, overwhelmed. I mean, I'm not, but I mean, if you're broken, overwhelmed, you're like, I wonder which one of these I'm doing. I'm hustling and grinding
Yeah.
as hard as I can as they tell me to do. Holy crap. So here are your frameworks. Avoid this mistake. Common action leads to negative result. That those actually make great headlines too. And one thing I will tell you is that often you will find amazing headlines hiding in the bullets that you make. Why doing X feels productive but actually slows you down, and three rookie errors that can cost you time, money, success, whatever is the thing that they want. So here's our prompt template, right? Three bullets showing mistakes avatar should avoid if they want to achieve desired outcome or stop experiencing pain. And again, these are, and you're like, well, would I use all of these types of bullets? Yeah. Depending on if you're using these in a sales letter or if you're truly trying to test some different angles, yeah, you would develop a bunch of bullets. And how many times have you seen a sales page where you had a bunch of different kind of bullets? And if you were doing, say, a webinar, you might want to generate this kind of bullet. You might do a feature benefit. You might do a big payoff. You might do a mistake to avoid. So you've got those three
Yeah.
bullets. Stop boosting posts. It's the fastest way to burn cash and get zero calls. Don't copy what big name agents are doing online. It only works after you're already booked solid. Avoid chasing cold leads. There's a faster and free way to connect with motivated sellers now. If we have any realtors here right now, some of them, their mouths have got to be watering like I just showed them a free ice cream cone. And that's because this stuff works.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Jim, from a mechanical standpoint for marketing.
Mhm.
What does split testing look like for you? Because I know it's important that you don't split test multiple areas at the same time. You can't do headline and picture and body and blurb and call to action all
Yeah,
in the
you
same
split
time.
test one thing at a time.
Okay.
So if you're going to split test the headline, you split test the headline. Now, what the example that I showed at the beginning, I split tested the headline package, which was the pre-head, the head, and the subhead. So, but the everything else aside from those things was exactly the same. And so that's what you got to identify exactly what you're going to test. And you only test that until you figure out what works and what doesn't. There is something called multivariate testing. None of us typically are getting enough traffic to make that work fast enough to figure stuff out.
Yeah, yeah. We've
So,
tried it. We've tried, I think, multivariate testing on mobile things, from what I can remember. But that's not much my wheelhouse anymore. But I do know that team split tests all the time. Like we have a brand new homepage for high level now, based on the split testing, based on words we found, based on things like saying agencies versus marketers. You
right.
know, like these are all micro changes that are being studied and changed over 2 years worth of time with 30 people looking at every single piece of it.
Right.
But there's a lot to this. It's a science and an art.
It is an art and a science, but you can also overcomplicate it. And the best thing to do is just focus on those hot buttons, get really good at understanding what your customers want, and knowing them better than they know themselves, and you're going to do a lot better than most people. Okay, so next type of bullet is the big payoff bullet. And this is where you highlight the transformation that they ultimately want. And you describe the emotional or practical payoff. And these are what we'd call a dream state vision bullet. So this is where it's like the ultimate payoff that they're going to get. You're going to be slim, sexy, and wake up tomorrow next to a supermodel. Man, that's a pretty good bullet. That might even actually be a good headline. I don't know. It's not true, but it'd be nice. So the examples are finally land clients who pay what you're worth without chasing, cold pitching, or begging. Ooh, now that would appeal to probably some people that are with us today. Feel proud and peaceful every time you look at your bank account. Ooh, I like that. And that's a better way than saying, find financial freedom. Here's a good one. Hey, finally
Yeah.
feel proud and peaceful every time you look at your bank account. Imagine finishing your workday by 2 p.m. and knowing everything important is done. That one, if that could be my life, oh crap, dude, I'd be all over that. Now, the fine print is you have to start your day at 4 a.m.
Or at 2 a.m.
Yeah, or 2 a.m. So here's some frameworks. All right. Finally, get what they want without dreaded task or pain. How to get yay without boo. Feel the desired emotion every time you do something. Imagine desirable scenario. This is what it looks like. And, again, thinking about the hot buttons of your ideal customer. This is where all this stuff comes from. These frameworks don't work if you don't know what pushes the buttons of your people. So here's a prompt. Write 3 big payout bullets that show avatar what their life could look like once they achieve desired outcome with the help of the offer. So let's try that one real quick, mainly because I just want to see how the heck it turns out. And I'm just copying and pasting this over here. Y'all let me know if having some sort of a copy and paste version of everything I'm doing would be helpful for you. All right, last one. Wake up with 2 listing appointments already on the calendar. No ad budget, no stress. Only thing I do, imagine waking up every Monday with 2 new listing appointments already on the calendar. I think that would be a better one, but I'm starting to overanalyze. Feel confident knowing exactly where your next client is coming from every single week. Start stacking commissions and finally hit that 500K a year without wasting another dollar on ads. Those are good. Are they perfect? No, but they're pretty damn good. And why are they good? Because we understand the framework, we understand the hot buttons, and we know how to put them together. That's why. So that is bullets. Any questions about bullets before we move on to blurbs?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Appreciate you going through the detail and the mechanics of how this is all being looked at. And there's different themes that I'm seeing. Certain industries and certain avatars will gravitate towards a certain type of bullet, and I assume they will find these types of data pieces as a split test.
Well, and also the certain type of bullet is going to go with a certain type of offer, with a certain type of copy, with a certain type of situation. So the explanation one might be really important when we're talking about writing copy for I don't know, for a landing page for a webinar, as opposed to the curiosity ones might be the biggest thing we want to do for our sorry, I'm trying to read a note from the chat and other stuff at the same time. But like for a book or a product, we
Yeah.
might be doing all curiosity inducing bullets. So it's not just market, but it's also context and what your objective is in that with those bullets in that sales copy? Great question. Um, all right. Somebody said this is making me want to reread Copywriting Secrets. Um, there you go. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about blurbs. And blurbs, like I said, may be a term you're not really familiar with or thinking in terms of with sales copy. So let's talk about first, what is a blurb? And a blurb is a short chunk of persuasive or informative text, typically between 25 and 200 words, used to quickly grab attention, explain something, or drive action. So this is when you think about when we're doing sales copy, just for the visualization stuff. Okay. Look, our our landing page has gotten bigger.
Oh man,
Okay.
this is the coolest thing.
So we got a headline, we got some opening bullets. This can again be part of the headline package. You might have a VSL up here. Now we're getting into content. Maybe we're going to be given a blurb about a story. Maybe we're going to be given a blurb about the background. Maybe we're going to be given the blurb about an upcoming event. A blurb is a chunk of text that serves a purpose. Whereas everybody's heard hook, story, offer, and they're like, well, what's a story when it starts? No, it's not a story. Story is just code for there's some stuff there. It might be a story, but it's not. So that's why thinking, I mean, you believe it or not, when I'm creating something, I literally, these have whiteboard material on them. And I can literally write on these with dry erase markers and start planning out everything. And it keeps you from freaking out about a huge project where you're like, it's going to take me days to write that. And then when you think about it in building blocks, it's over before it really even starts. So that's what a blurb is. Why are blurbs important? Because it distills your message into a powerful, bite-sized piece that captures attention, communicates value, and motivates the reader to keep moving forward. This is something else that I want to just, if this was a sales letter, what's the purpose of the headline, Paulson?
Have people go to the call to action as quick as possible.
Nope.
No?
The purpose of the headline is to get them to stop, pre-frame them from what's coming next and go to the next section.
Gotcha.
Bullets. What's the purpose of the bullets?
To go to the next section.
To go to the next section. Now, if they don't do that, there's probably going to be a subheadline here to grab them again. What's the purpose of that subheadline?
Content. Make sure
Get
they
them to
read
go
that.
to the next section.
Mm,
Everything, the purpose of every section in your sales letter is to move them to the next section. Okay. And that's why understanding blurbs as opposed to hook, story, offer, now you have something to work with as far as a content block that has a purpose to get them to move forward. And so, how do you typically use blurbs in copy hacking? They're typically used as building blocks. They're modular chunks of persuasive text that you literally mix, match, and stack to create ads, emails, landing pages, sales letters, and more. And if we had more time together, I would be getting into how to stack these things into emails and sales letters and everything else. But you're going to get all the important stuff in this. So just think of those as Legos that you're assembling to make anything from a Death Star to an X-Wing to a laser gun. You see where my mind is.
yeah.
But I'm wearing my my Star Wars-ish SAS shirt today. So there are basically three main types of blurbs. Are there more? Sure. Okay. But again, this is the 5% that gets you 95% of the results. So the first type of blurb is a description blurb, and that paints a clear picture of what something is or what something does. The second type of blurb is an explanation blurb, and that clarifies how something works or why it matters. And then there's a summarization blurb that condenses key points into a concise takeaway. So basically, we're going to describe, we're going to explain, or we're going to summarize. Let me give you an example of each. And interestingly enough, I'm going to use the exact same subject matter and hot buttons in each one of them so you can
Okay.
see the difference between them. Okay. So, example blurb. All right. Description blurb. This training shows real estate agents a simple, repeatable method to get 2 extra listing appointments every week. No paid ads, no calls, and no tech overwhelm. Just smart prospecting strategies that actually work in today's market. That's a damn good description for a webinar, a training. Okay. So that's a description blurb. Here's an explanation blurb. Most agents waste money chasing leads that go nowhere. This webinar breaks down how to consistently book 2 new listing appointments each week by using untapped referral triggers and local momentum without spending a dime on marketing. So that's an explanation of what this is about. And then finally, the summarization. Learn how to get 2 more listing appointments a week without paying for ads. Fast, free, and designed for working agents who want results now.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Help
just
me
cuts to the
help
chase.
help
Huh?
me understand the difference on each one of these. I understand like the copy changes, but what about this like what is structured differently for each one from a
I'm going to get
mechanical
to all that.
standpoint?
So
Okay,
you
okay.
just got to bear with me. But
Got it.
basically, a description's where you're going to describe something, like on a landing page or an opt-in page. Okay. An explanation might be in an article or a piece of marketing content or an advertorial or in an email. And then a summarization is a blurb that might come right before a call to action. You're using this at the end of, it could be in a
Mm,
script in a video, it could be at the end of an article, it could be at the end of a blog post, it could be the end of a speech, it could be your last slide on a PowerPoint. But this is where you're coming up with a blurb to summarize what the heck's going on.
got
Okay.
it. So the functionality is different for each specific one and what it does.
Correct. So now, what are the blocks we need? Well, basically the same ones as everything else. Isn't that convenient? So now there's a framework for a blurb, even though it says burb. Okay. There's a framework for a blurb, and it's got 4 parts. This is where I'm teaching you, you are growing in your understanding of copy hacking and what's going on here. So there's 4 parts to this. There's blurb type, there's purpose and focus, there's tone and style, and there's length. Now, before you worry about that, take a look at this. So now you can choose when you're creating your prompt, your framework. Okay, my blurb type is going to be a description, explanation, or summarization. The purpose or focus of this blurb is going to be on either who, what, where, when, why, how, or how much. That can be a combination of a couple, but pretty much a blurb is going to be about, who should do this, what what should they do, where is this happening, when is this happening, why should you pay attention, how do I get involved, how do I get, how does this apply to me, and how much is this going to cost, or how much time do I have to invest, or how, see, it's very natural once you kind of understand it. So can there be more? Sure. Yeah. Who should pay attention and what's involved? Who should pay attention, what's involved, and where is this going to happen? I mean, you can start really chunking this together. Then you're going to have a tone or a style, which typically is going to be direct and salesy. If I want somebody to really, you know what? I got a whole bunch of descriptions for this. I'm just giving you this, and so you'll understand. So, tone and style, direct and salesy, conversation friendly, authoritative expert, emotional, story driven, curious, teasing. And then length is going to be extra short, short, medium, long, or extra long. It's kind of like underwear. All right. So we're going to look at each one of these parts individually so you understand. And then I'm going to have some cool, once you get it, you're like, holy crap, this is like the holy grail. This is why I'm not teaching you a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have to teach you a whole bunch of other stuff because when you understand this, you just linking up blurbs together. So blurb type, description, explanation, summarization. Again, description paints a clear picture of what something is or does. Explanation clarifies how something works or why it matters. And summarization condenses key points into a concise takeaway. Next, purpose and focus. Who? That focuses on the person, audience, or character involved. So a blurb about why you should pay attention to Paulson, a blurb about why you should pay attention. Who is Paulson and why should we pay attention to him? What clarifies what the product, service, or idea actually is? Where identifies the location, setting, or context where something's happening. When communicates timing, urgency, or scheduling details. Why explains the reason, motivation, or benefit behind the message. How shows the process, method, or steps involved. And how much communicates pricing, value, effort, or comparison. So then tone and style. Direct salesy is straightforward, focused on persuading the real reader to take action. Conversational friendly is casual and approachable, like you're talking to a friend. Authoritative expert is confident and informative, coming from a place of knowledge. Emotional story driven connects through feeling, storytelling, or personal impact. Curious teasing creates intrigue by hinting at what's coming without revealing everything. So now length, extra short, is between 1 and 25 words. So you can then create a blurb that's perfect for taglines, headlines, captions, and calls to action. Short, 26 to 50 words, that's great for ads, email intros, or product highlights. So if you need to create a blurb about your product, if you need to create something to go in an email. Medium, which is 50 to 100 words, is ideal for social media posts, product descriptions, or short bio paragraphs. Give me a blurb about all your qualifications. Give me a quick blurb about high level. Long, which is 100 to 150 words, is useful for about sections, landing page chunks, or email body copy. And that might even be a little long for email. And then extra long, which is between 150 and 200 plus words, is best for storytelling blurbs, mini sales pitches, or detailed summaries. So if you were going to do a sales letter, for example, that was, basically your story used to sell and justify the thing, you would do an extra long blurb that told your story. But thinking about it as chunks and all of the way that they're put together. So frameworks and prompts. You want to explain why people should sign up for your webinar. So the elements that you're going to use from the framework, blurb type, explanation. Okay, I'm going to explain why you want to do this. Purpose, focus is why. I mean, it's very natural once you understand that. Tone, style, conversation and friendly, and length, medium, 50 to 100 words. So with these elements, I know that to do this, it's going to be an explanation why. I want to be conversationally and friendly, and this is about the length I want. So here's the prompt. Again, explanation why, conversational, medium length. Write a medium length blurb around 75 words that explains why a busy realtor should sign up for a free webinar called How to Get 2 More Listing Appointments a Week Without Spending a Dime on Ads. Use a conversational and friendly tone. Focus on the desired outcome, more listings, the pain point, burning money on ads, and the roadblock, believing ads are necessary. Mention the number one big result, 2 more listings a week, and how the webinar removes the number one big pain of a wasted ad budget. So here would be an example output of just sticking this into a chat. If you're a busy realtor tired of pouring money into ads that don't deliver, this free webinar is for you. You'll discover a simple strategy to land 2 more listing appointments every week without spending a dime on marketing. No hacks, no gimmicks, just proven methods that work for agents like you who want more listings and less stress. You'll walk away with real steps you can use right away without blowing your budget or your schedule. So imagine that now, that blurb to go along with, literally promoting your webinar. Here's your headline. Here are your bullets. Here's a picture that represents either you or the thing. You've got that blurb about what's going to be on there. You're going to have the date, the time, and you've got your call to action. So that's how you use the blurb. That's where the blurb would go as far as using it to create content and copy and all that good stuff that you need. So let's look at another example. All right. This would be a description. What? Curious, teasing, and short. So the prompt, write a short blurb about 50 words in a curious teasing tone that describes a free webinar for busy realtors called How to Get Two More Listing Appointments a Week Without Spending a Dime on Ads. Make it intriguing. Hint at the benefit, more listings, no ad spend without giving everything away. So here's an example output. What if you could land 2 extra listing appointments every single week without spending a penny on advertising? There's a free webinar revealing how agents are doing exactly that. It's not what you think, and it works shockingly well. Want in? Grab your spot before the strategy goes mainstream. That's good stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's surprising that it picked up. It's not what you think, and it worked shockingly well. That's a copywriting mentality there that is
That's
evident, you know?
right. But that's called copy hacking. And that's where knowing how to structure these things and do it so that it outputs the thing. Okay. Now, let's do one that's super short. All right. Extra short. So this is going to be a summarization why with an authoritative expert tone to it. And again, extra short. So here's the prompt. Write an extra short authoritative blurb under 25 words summarizing why a busy realtor should attend a free webinar called How to Get Two More Listing Appointments a Week Without Spending a Dime on Ads. State the core benefit and with confidence and clarity. So learn the proven method top agents use to book more listings without ad spend. This webinar shows you exactly how it's done. Now imagine that. Where would that be pretty good? I think that'd be real
Be the
good, like with a
headline.
Facebook ad.
Okay, yeah. Like
That
a
might
main,
be that a headline, subheadline.
yeah.
So the first sentence a headline, the second being a subheadline in parentheses, sure. But isn't it funny how now it gets real squishy once you, and we got one more of these to show you and then we'll keep going. But I want to point something out here. As you start thinking about all this stuff, it gets real squishy between the headline, the bullets, the blurbs, and you'll see here in a minute with the calls to action. You're going to start seeing calls to action in your headlines and headlines in your bullets and bullets in your blurbs. And it's just, you're going to start to recognize the patterns. And that's when you really are copy hacking.
Yeah. Let me take a step back for a quick second, for 30 seconds. So whenever you build out landing pages or, funnels or whatever you want to call it, mini sites, I assume you have someone else handling the design. And once you have a design, you keep the design and then you test the copies as you go. Or do you do testing on the designs as well?
We have pretty much a standard design that we use that works for us and our branding. And
Gotcha.
so how it works is I write the copy and then I hand it over to Susan. Susan puts it into the funnel and then I do my final edit pass or passes in the funnel software. So I'm editing it as it will be seen on the web.
Got it. Makes sense.
So that's my process for it. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking in the perspective for even high level, we have the parent high level branding. That doesn't really change much regardless of what's being put out there. We've got
right,
the navy blue and highly mascot and the standard colors.
right.
And even the design themes are often the same. So then it allows us to just focus on copy because other, variants are not being changed too much.
Right. And people, your audience knows it's you.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
And so, all right. So the last one that we're going to go over is an AI prompt that's a neat little ad hack. So this is stuff that you saw earlier, but you do a summarization why authoritative expert extra short. So the prompt is write an extra short authoritative blurb under 25 words summarizing why a busy realtor should attend a free webinar, how to get 2 more listings appointments a week, state the core benefit with confidence and clarity. So again, here's an ad. Get 2 extra listing appointments every week consistently without wasting time or money on ads. This free webinar shows you how step by step. That's a decent little ad. just with that prompt. Okay. So as a reminder, how these work together for a framework for a blurb, you decide on the blurb type, doing a description, explanation, summarization. What's the purpose? What's the focus? Are we focusing on a who, what, where, when, why, how, or how much? What's this about? What's the tone? What's the style? And then what's the length? And when you start thinking in those terms, now you're able to, with any chat bot, not just ChatGPT or Gork or Grack or Nick and Tony's Autobody or Claudia or whatever there's just from part of my objective here is to teach y'all how to do this independent of whatever the chat bot is. And that is when you understand these parts, you're not just wishful dreaming, pulling the slot machine handle, hoping that it's going to give you something good. You actually are empowered to get a good result with this. That's what's important to me, because there's too many chuckleheads operating out of 2,000 prompts they downloaded off of Facebook. And they're like, why does my copy suck? Why is it inconsistent? And why am I not selling anything? Because you thought buying an ebook for $10 was going to make you rich. Dummy. Okay. So, and if you didn't take a screenshot of that, you really should have. All right. So final section for this training, we're going to talk about calls to action. Calls to action, which is basically an action with a reason why people should take it. If you really want to know, I just summed it there. I'm copy hacking the copy hacking. And so a call to action is a clear, compelling prompt that tells your audience exactly what to do next. And it has a context for why they should take that action, so they take the next step towards the result that you're offering. It's basically you tell them in the right spot what you want them to do and why you want them to do it. And they go, okay, sure. And typically you want them to like, click, sign up, buy, or learn more. And that's critical, because you can't get them to do more than one of those things in a call to action. You might, click or buy. Well, am I supposed to click or buy? If I want them to buy, buy now or click for more information. Nah, when you get to that point, you better have been making it so that they would buy. So why is a call to action important? Well, it's important because it turns attention into action. And if you haven't written anything down, you need to write that down. Call to action turns attention into action. It guides your audience from interest to engagement, so they don't just read or watch, but they actually do something. And the old thing of nothing happens until somebody does something. You don't make any money until somebody buys something. So one of the ways I like to think of it is like an invitation. Nobody comes to your party if you don't send out the invitation. Nobody's going to go to your website from your blog post or from your video unless you invite them. But there's got to be a reason that they should come. They like you and they want to hang out with you. They want to come see what the train wreck's going to be at the costume party. Whatever it is, there's got to be a reason why that fits with the context of what they've just done with you. So some examples. Want 2 more listing appointments this week? This free training shows you exactly how top agents are doing it without wasting a dime on bad ads. Now, I could use that at the end of an explainer video. I could use that at the end of a phone call that I was doing. I could do that at the end of a blog post. I could do that. Really, that call to action could be an ad in and of itself. Isn't it interesting how it's just this gray area between all this stuff? Tired of blowing cash on ads that don't work? I used to be right there. Now I coach top producers and investors to scale smarter. Come see what's working in 2025. I'm gonna have to change that when we do the book. I'm gonna have to take that year out, because next year it'll be as but old. If
Yeah.
you're a top producer or want to be, that's a great line, by the way. If you're a top producer or want to be, if you're a funnel millionaire or want to be, if you're a successful
Fastpreneur.
agency
Yeah.
owner or want to be, this is your edge. How to get more listings and stay on track for 500K this year without chasing cold leads. Think you need to spend big on ads to get more listings? You don't. I'll show you how real agents are booking 2+ appointments a week free inside the webinar. Those are really good calls to action. What hot buttons do we need for these? The same ones we've been using all along. Isn't that funny? If we know who they are, what they want, the pain point, the thing that they think's holding them back, the thing that we want to sell them, the big result that the offer gives them, the pain it removes, and unique little facts about ourselves, we can do all this stuff. Notice I have not been adding a whole bunch of crap to this list. Now, can you? Absolutely. Is this the tip of the iceberg? Yes. Here are some main types of call to action frameworks. So the first one is an outcome-based call to action. So this is basically uses the desired outcome plus the number one big result. Start creating desired outcome today. Here's how. Get number one big result faster than you thought possible. Click here. Now we've got a pain removal call to action. So first one was about getting what they wanted. This is about getting rid of what they don't. So it's pain point plus big pain removed. Tired of pain point? This is your first step out. Now, I want you to think about that for a second because that's a beautiful thing. And the reason I say that is because if somebody's pain is really, really, really bad, they're not going to believe that you can solve it all that quick. But by saying, tired of this, this is your first step out. Oh, crap. Throw me a lifeline. Let's keep going. That is so subtly beautiful that I didn't want it to get lost on everybody. Say goodbye to number one big pain. Take the first step now. Now, third type of call to action is identity based. So this is where we use the avatar and the desired outcome. If you're a avatar, this was made for you. Tap to begin or click to start. Ready to stop being avatar stuck in pain and start becoming that identity with the outcome? 4, objection flipping call to action. This is especially good when you are looking at an industry or a market or a niche that is filled with bitter know-it-alls. They've seen it all, they've heard it all, they've read it all. Basically every niche now. That they've heard every freaking everything. Okay. So it uses the roadblock and objection. Think roadblock is stopping you? Watch what happens when it's not. No roadblock, no problem. Click here to see how easy this can be. And then finally, the story-driven call to action. So this is where we use a bio point, a pain point, and an outcome. I used to bio-related pain. Now I help others get desired outcome. Let me show you how. I was stuck in pain point 2. This is what finally worked. So there's some bonus ones in here as well. So finally get desired outcome, even if you're facing this roadblock. You've waited long enough. Here's your shortcut to number one big result. This is for anyone who's sick of pain point and ready for desired outcome. Not sure if offers for you. It's built for avatar who want number one big result. So here are some prompts. All right. Outcome-based call to action. Framework. Promise the result that they really, really want. So the prompt is write a call to action that motivates avatar to take action by promising their desired outcome or number one big result. So this is the kind of output it's going to give you. Want to finally launch your course without second guessing everything? Get the step-by-step blueprint and start selling this week. That's pretty good. Now you could substitute automated webinar. Want to launch your automated webinar through Go High Level without second guessing everything or hard coding? Get the step-by-step blueprint and get the step-by-step snapshot and start selling this week. That'd be good. Pain removal call to action. So the framework is remove what's hurting them. Prompt. Create a call to action that highlights the pain point and shows how the offer removes the pain or solves the problem. Here would be an output we could get from the chat bot. Sick of rewriting your bio for every website? Use our fill in the blank system and get a magnetic bio in 5 minutes. identity based. So this is to speak who they are or who they're becoming. So the prompt is write a call to action that speaks directly to the avatar and positions the offer as the next step towards their desired outcome. If you're a coach who's tired of chasing clients, it's your time to flip the script. Attract your dream audience with our client magnet system. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And hopefully some of you are like substituting your own stuff. So, if you're an agency owner who's tired of chasing clients, it's time to flip the script. Attract your dream audience with our agency client magnet system. Boom. So, objection flipping, call to action. So, this is where we overcome what they think is stopping them. Again, if you're in a bitter know it all world, um, this can help you. So create a call to action that acknowledges the roadblock and objection and then reframes the offer as a way to overcome it. Example, you think you need a big list to make big sales? Think again. Discover how micro audiences are quietly crushing it. I can also see when you think you need a big social media following to make big sales? Think again. Think you need a huge ad budget to make big sales? Think again. See, once your mind opens up to this copy hacking way, you'll never go back to the old way again. So story driven call to action uses a micro story to show what's possible. So write a call to action that uses the bio, whatever that thing is there, a quick personal story to relate to the reader's pain point and show the desired outcome as possible. So I used to panic every time somebody asked me what I do. Now I help entrepreneurs create clear, powerful messaging. Let me show you how I got there.
Yeah. It's almost like it's targeting introverts or something, or someone who is shy. I don't know.
It's targeting somebody who's like, how many of you are here with us live have ever felt like I was talking directly to you? Even maybe not when I was using the real estate agent examples, but other stuff, it's like, hey, I'd be interested in that. It's because it's people and understanding people. So hybrid CTA, the bonus one we did, so you blend pain, outcome, and result into one invitation. So generate a call to action that combines pain point, desired outcome, and number one big result into one compelling invitation. So example, you don't have to stay stuck staring at a blank page. Learn how to write copy that actually converts in less time than you think. That's pretty good. So I wanted to leave a little time for questions. I know we're over, but what did we do today? Well, we did bullets, we did blurbs, we did calls to action, and we covered a lot. And I hope you got some goodness out of this that you could apply in your life and business. Like I say, this is really the tip of the iceberg with all this stuff. Hopefully you'll have me come back one day.
Of course.
If I'm still part of the gang. I wore the shirt. Um, but I hope y'all got something good out of this, and I'm happy to answer any questions for a few minutes. If you got any, Paulson, or you want to see
Absolutely.
another demo or something.
Absolutely. So for those of you that were spending time with us the last 2 days, remember that if you don't have high level just yet, as part of this training, we're providing a 14-day trial, but most importantly, you're going to be able to get Jim's snapshots and, years of copywriting that is part of the whole training. So don't miss out on that. So that will be at gohighlevel.com/Jim Edwards offer. So no matter when you're watching this, actually, even if it is a few months from now, we are in April 2025, even if it's later, feel free to jump into this and take a look at it and we'll honor that. And that's because we are testing a new evergreen model of making sure these trainings are available, just to be flat honest. So hopefully you guys got and gals got a lot of knowledge out of this. And our goal was to not just feed you a bunch of fish, but teach you how to fish, right? That's the ultimate intention, right, Jim?
Absolutely. And I mean, now you just got me thinking that when somebody's watching this, my book might have already come out already and become an international bestseller again. I love that kind of future pacing. But yeah, the whole point of this was to show you how frameworks and what copy hacking is and how you can use those frameworks and not just think that you're going to download some prompt for ChatGPT and it's going to make you rich, but also to give you frameworks that you could use to actually create amazing copy using AI. And there's a whole world of this out there that hopefully this gave you some cool bite-sized pieces and now you want to know more.
Love it. So let's spend the next like 5 minutes. We're at 12:25. Let's spend the next 5 minutes just rapid firing Q&A questions specifically for Jim. And I'll just bring them up. I have my phone here. I'm looking at the
That's code
screening.
for don't give long old man answers, just answer real quick.
Well, I'm saying rapid fire for the folks that are watching
Oh,
too.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. You can take as long as you want on any one question. We what if I'm currently on a trial? Carolina, just reach out to us. We'll make sure these resources are available to you, regardless. So we have a folder already set up and everything. So either Jordan or Ethan or someone on the team will provide that over to you. So you don't need to sign up for a whole new trial just because you want this. Um, okay, Arash is asking, just wondering if Jim had has made a GPT that is trained on funnel hacking the way he taught or explained.
No, I've done something far more cool and amazing than that. I have an entire software platform that is mine that is so far beyond GPTs and other things like that. But that's what I've done.
Now, are you integrating with high level or is that part of the snapshot or can people access that? I want to make sure
It
they're
is
able
it is
to.
not part of the snapshot because y'all wanted me to keep stuff separate. So I wasn't really, you're
Okay.
not supposed to promote your stuff on these things. And we've looked into integrating with high level and we're still kind of half pregnant with that. And so, but we have we make it really easy for you to get what we make out of our system and get it over into high level to build your landing pages and your workflows and all that stuff. So
Awesome. And for those of you, it looks like Jordan just posted a link that says grab the resources here. So if you go there, you will be able to get access. And I'll make sure we add the slides from today's training and or any other material that we might have used that's relevant to it. Couple of questions for you, Jim. When it comes to copywriting, how much time should a brand new marketer spend on copywriting versus other parts of their business? Like, should, help a brand new agency owner without a client, get started? Like, do I focus on building out my landing page and funnel and hope that people buy everything online, especially if it's services, or do I just leave the stuff alone until I find more information about my avatar by talking to them? Like I lean on the side of you need to get to know the avatar before you can just jump, shoot the rocket off.
get to know your avatar really, 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 really well. All right. Who are you serving? Number one. Number two, figure out what your offer is. Have your offer in written format so that when you're talking to somebody either in person or on Zoom, hey, let me pull up the offer. And it's got, the title of it, the promise of it, and then the list of the deliverables that's going to support that. And like I said, I did a whole, they flew me to Dallas to talk about offers. So that there's training on that we have. And then know why you. What about you makes you uniquely qualified to talk to this avatar and to make this offer? And if your answer's nothing, really rethink what the hell you're doing. Seriously. Okay. And so for some people, this is easy because you did what they do for 20 years and you're just reaching back in time to help. Others is like, hey, I thought this would be a good thing to do. Well, work on your story there, Chuckles. But you better get that stuff all dialed in. And then you start practicing messaging, talk to people. One of the best things you can do is talk to people who are your ideal customers and see how they respond to the stuff you do. Imagine sitting down and drinking a cup of coffee with somebody and telling them who you are, who you help, and what you got. And once you do that about 20 times, and then ask them to buy your offer and pay attention. And once you figure out what to say to get them to buy, make sure you're recording yourself on, and Zoom makes this really easy for you to do this, but you record yourself and you're going to find the pattern that sells. And that's going to be the basis of some of your sales copy. Gary Halbert called it can it and close it, or can it and clone it. Sorry, rather. I'm thinking going straight for the jugular, close it. Can it and clone it, which is basically figure out your sales pitch that's working, the elements of your sales pitch that are working, and then use those elements to construct your 24/7 salesperson, which is your sales letter. So, and the cool thing is that AI can help you do that, whether it's you're using ChatGPT or you're using my platform.
Makes total sense. I think I was just looking at our YouTube channel. I see a question from YouTube here. Um, Can we use somebody's asking, can we use the AI system inside of high level, like the copy AI that's part of AI employee? I don't know if you've messed with that yet, Jim.
Mm-mm.
But we do have a copy AI system that's part of the AI employee stack. But if you reach out to us or look at any of our other trainings, we do have trainings on AI employee as well, and copy AI is one of those. Now, we have not infused Jim Edwards' philosophies in there. That might be something him and his team might do as part of their training. But I would say check back in with Jim in a little bit, maybe a couple of months once the book's out and everything. It'll be interesting how more the 2.0 versions all come out.
Well, interestingly enough, all the prompts and stuff that I shared with you will work on anybody's chatbot. So, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure it will work in your copy AI thing. It'll work in
yeah,
I mean, I'm serious. The way I've
yeah,
designed this is for it to, if somebody's got a bot that's, third or fourth generation, it'll work great.
yeah. Well, Jim, I had a lot of fun spending time with you last 2 days.
Me
Take us
too.
home. Take us home. Give us a full a executive summary at the end of the paper.
Sure. Well, the gist of it is if you want to be successful, you got to be able to persuade people to buy, try, click, and sign up, or call you on the phone or schedule an appointment. That's it. If you want to be successful, you have to be able to put words on a page, words on paper, words on a postcard, words on a video, words in an article, words on a blog post, words in an ad to get people to click, buy, try, sign up, call you on the phone, schedule an appointment. How do you do that? Number one, you got to know who your avatar is, know what their hot buttons are. You got to know what the best that you can make an offer and be able to deliver on that. You got to know where you slide into that whole thing. Why it makes sense for them to pay attention to you becomes the basis of your attractive character. Once you have all that defined, the hot buttons and the promise and the messages, then you can plug those into frameworks to help you create the parts that you need to assemble your copy. And the cool thing is that AI makes it easier to put those frameworks and those hot buttons together to get a good result. And then when you visualize everything as building blocks that you can use to assemble anything you need, rather than looking at the whole and going, holy crap, you look at anything as a whole of its parts and you just figure out how to create the parts. And what I've taught you in here will pretty much work with any chatbot. And if you'd like more information about what I'm doing, you can find me online.
I feel like I've learned how to be a mechanical engineer of copywriting. There's different compartments of it, and I've got to put this vehicle together, and that's where my mind is. So I appreciate you, Jim. I'm hoping that
Sure.
I'll see you in Dallas again for our conference. I don't know if you're coming to our high level summit in October. If
Sure.
you
I'm
are,
I'm sure that if the creek don't rise, that I will make my pilgrimage to Dallas to be a part of the finest internet event going anywhere.
did you have one
So
last year? It was your first one, huh?
yeah, last year was my first one and it crushed. It was the best one I ever been
Yeah,
to.
what was your overall thought? And speak to the folks that have never been to one. There's people in here that's been. part of High Level for like 5 years, and they have yet to come to one of our events.
So what made it cool started the instant you walked in. Because when I walked in, I wasn't treated like a stranger, but I was treated like an old friend. And then the way they treat you with the swag bag and, depending on what level that you buy in at, I mean, they over deliver everything from food to swag to customer service to the quality of the people speaking and the quality of the people in the vendor hallway, that you can really make some cool connections and see people doing some neat stuff. I mean, it was just well organized, never in doubt as to where you should be or what was going on. Didn't feel like a giant upsell. Just felt like tons and tons of value and learning and networking and other stuff. And the other cool thing is that you've been to those conferences where you see like the people that are putting on the conference, you never see them. That was something, like the owners of the company are just walking around in t-shirts. You can say hi to them, talk to them, unless they're, they got to go somewhere and do something. But you didn't feel like you were part of the great unwashed. You felt like you were part of the community. And if you really wanted to say something to, I just think it's hilarious that they refer to the three of them by their initials, like but if you wanted to just say hi, they'd say hi, they'd take a selfie, shake your hand, talk to you for a minute. And everybody who's there working is everybody that works there.
Yep, that's
So
right.
you
Our
you
own
meet
team
the
members.
folks. Yeah, it's just everybody's super cool. And it's a great
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, my focus was somehow trying to get you a plate of barbecue. That was one of
Yes, and
the
you
first.
you got it. You made it happen. I appreciate it. So let me throw this out to you, to anybody who's watching this. If you could only go to one event this year, make it the summit, because you will learn more stuff, get more re-energized, and get more insight and more connection there than you will anywhere else. Absolutely, 110%.
Well, that's a mic drop. We'll call it a day for there. I appreciate everybody for
Thanks
watching.
for having me.
If you want the replays, you should be able to access it. If you want the slides, snapshots, and all of that, it's part of our resources folder. It's if you look on the comments on Facebook or any other, areas that we have the streaming, you'll see the links to the resources. And in case if you're watching from far and you're just considering to be part of the High Level family, jump into a 14-day trial, and Jim will provide you some of those resources as well. That's part of this offer for the event. But anyways, Jim, always a pleasure. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye.